వైకుంఠవాసా నమో నారాయణ వైదేహి మోహన నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our most humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Sadguru. Revered elders, dear brothers and sisters, and everyone watching us live from around the world, Sai Ram to all of you. This evening, we will commence this evening session with a Vedic invocation by the boy students who are pursuing their BA Vedic studies, and they will be chanting the Shiva Sankalpa Suktam.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshi Yamamritaat Om Yajjagrato Duramudaitu Sarvantadu Suptasya Tathaivaiti Durangaman Jyotishan Jyotirekantan Me Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu Yena Karma Anyapaso Manishino Yagne Krinvanti Vidatheshu Dhiraaha Yada Purvai Yakshamantam Prajanantan Me Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu Yat Prajnana Mutacheto Dhritischa Yajyotirantaramritam Prajasu Yasman Narute Kinchana Karma Kriyate Tan Me Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu Yenedam Bhutam Bhuvanam Bhavishyat Parigrihitam Amritena Sarvam Yena Yajnastayate Saptahota Tan Me Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu Yasmin Rajasa Jogam Shiyasmin Pratisthita Rathana Bhavivaraha Yasmin Shittagum Sarvamotam Prajanantan Me Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu Susharathirashvani Vayan Manushyaane Niyute Pashubhirvajiniva Dhrit Pravishthai Yadacharaya Vishtantan Me Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Sayeshwararpanamastu.
On this auspicious 6th day of Navaratri, let us invoke the divine presence of Devi Katyayani, the embodiment of youthful radiance and spiritual power. Arising from the collective anger of the gods, Katyayani descended to vanquish the demon Mahishasura, a symbol of ignorance and ego. She confronted the demon in a fierce battle, ultimately triumphing over darkness and restoring balance to the universe. Katyayani's victory over Mahishasura signifies the triumph of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and compassion over cruelty. This morning, we witnessed the Shiva Panchakshari Homa and Saptadravya Mrityunjaya Homa performed at the Yagashala, where the Shiva Panchakshari was chanted 3,000 times and the Mrityunjaya mantra was chanted 2,100 times. While explaining the significance, the priest said that the word Mahamrityunjaya signifies the one who has conquered death. The Homa or Japa does not guarantee immortality, but it helps us overcome the fear of death. We chant the Mrityunjaya mantra to possess a healthy body and enjoy a long life, invoking the blessings of Mrityunjaya. By praying to Mrityunjaya, we seek to destroy the karmic consequences of our past actions. He concluded by explaining the importance of the 7 types of dravya or offerings made to the Mrityunjaya Homa. During the puja, we had 2 guests, Shri K.H. Munyappa, Minister of Food and Civil Supplies, Government of Karnataka, and Shri Gopinath Vaneri, President for Social Justice, International Civil Rights Council. Shri K.H. Munyappa, in his talk, praised the institution for preserving the Indian culture and conducting impactful service activities. He also urged that the government and the world take inspiration from the ideals set by Sadhguru Shri Madhusudan Sai. Shri Gopinath Vaneri also shared his good fortune on being in the presence of Sadhguru and witnessing the wonderful rituals and prayed for the welfare of the whole world. Sadhguru further elaborated by saying, the Mrityunjaya mantra is a powerful prayer from Sri Rudram, which conveys the idea of overcoming the fear of death and attaining immortality for the soul. He also said, how we live our lives determines how we die, since death is an inevitable part of life. Performing good deeds is essential for a meaningful life as it leaves a positive legacy and inspires others. It is equivalent to being Shankara, one who does good for others. Swami concluded by urging all to evolve from Jiva, individual soul, to Shiva, universal consciousness, by living a meaningful life and inspiring others, using our abilities and knowledge for the betterment of society, and to remain steadfast in the face of challenges. At the Durga Pandal, Chandi Part was chanted and Pushpanjali, the offering of flowers, was performed along with Aarti. May we now invite Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy, Chancellor, Shri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, to address all of us.
Dearest Sadhguru, brothers and sisters and very dear students, boys and girls. This morning in his divine discourse, Sadhguru made a very important point for spiritual aspirants. It is important not only for spiritual aspirants, but it is important for everyone born on this earth as human beings. He said, true test of spirituality, if you want to know how much you have progressed on the spiritual path, the real acid test is to what extent you have overcome the fear of death. If you are afraid of death, definitely you have not made much progress on the spiritual path. It's a very difficult yardstick, but still it is relevant for everyone. Generally, when one talks about death, we consider it as very inauspicious. Why we should talk about death? And we just react. The reaction to death is fear. As Swami himself said this morning, the greatest fear is the fear of death for human beings. Therefore, like the bird ostrich, we want to evade even thinking of death generally. But we need to rise from reacting to responding to any problem. Just reacting is not going to solve the problem. You have to respond to the problem, think deeply. And Sadhguru explained, we need to think death as a change. A baby is born, a baby loses childhood and gains boyhood or girlhood. So that is a change. From boyhood, you become a young man. From girlhood, you become a young lady. That's a change. You're not afraid of it. Similarly, you grow into an elderly person, a middle-aged person. That is a change. From middle-aged person, you grow into an old person. That is a change. But death also is a change, and there is no death for us. See, Mahamrutyunjaya Homa was performed, as was very correctly explained by Niket. Mahamrutyunjaya will not grant us freedom from death. Body has to die. There is no other go. We have to overcome the fear of death by knowing that we are not the body. The body is just our vesture. It's our dress. It's our costume. It has to go. And how do we do that is the next question. And this profound lesson was taught to Dharmaraja by Bhagavan Sri Krishna at a very interesting moment in his life. All of us know the story, Sargarohana. Bhagavan Vyasa, Maharshi Vyasa advises Dharmaraja and his brothers and consort Draupadi, it is time you give up the country, you give up your kingship, coronate Parikshit, and then walk northwards, one behind the other, without looking back. That is called Sargarohana Parva in Mahabharata, ascent to heaven. And what happens on the way finally when they reach the Himalayas? Dharmaraja is in the first place, behind him Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, and behind them is Draupadi is walking. At a certain point in time, what happens? Draupadi collapses and falls dead. But the kind of pledge, the kind of vow that had taken was, they will not look back. None of the 5 Pandavas, the 5 husbands, looked back. They just moved forward. Then it was the turn of Sahadeva, Nakula, Arjuna, Bhima. All of them fell dead. Dharmaraja did not look back. And he ascended to heaven. See, generally people aspire to go to heaven. But here Dharmaraja was most miserable when he ascended to the heaven. The angels had assembled there to welcome him. But he was feeling very miserable because Arjuna, who had performed the lost rites of Lord Sri Krishna, and thousands of Yadavas, as a lost act in his life, his body was not cremated. Nobody was there to cremate his body. Bhima's body was not cremated. Draupadi's body was, lost rites were not performed. So also Nakula and Sahadeva. Naturally, Dharmaraja was feeling very miserable when he ascended to the heaven, feeling very miserable. And then he prayed to Krishna. And Krishna appears, smiling at him, he appears. Dharmaraja feels so happy. Immediately he comes out of the miserable state. See, that is why we gather for darshan in Premamrutham hall, whatever mood we are in. Because life is full of ups and downs. The mundane life is full of ups and downs. We have turmoil sometimes, turbulence sometimes. We face difficulties in life. By having darshan of Sadguru, a divine personality, a Brahmavida, our sorrows are at least temporarily destroyed. Dharmaraja immediately became extremely happy and prayed to Krishna, Krishna, I don't want heaven. I want to be with you all the time. Krishna says, there is only one way you can be with me all the time. That is by merging in me. Dharmaraja prays, Lord, merge me in you. Then Sri Krishna says, only place you can make spiritual progress. Only place where you can pray for spiritual emancipation is as a human being when you are on the earth. Heaven is not the place. And then he asks a very poignant question. See, Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja, I was available to you whenever you wanted. You spent hours, many hours with me, many days with me. Did you at any point of time when you were on the earth pray for liberation? You never prayed. You always prayed, grant us victory in the battle. My brother Arjuna has gone to forest seeking divine weapons to vanquish the Kauravas in the ensuing battle, grant him success. You prayed for Bhima, you prayed for Nakula, you prayed for your mother. When you went away to forest leaving behind your mother, you prayed, Krishna, please see to it that our mother is happy. You prayed for your wife. Did you any time pray, Lord, liberate me from the cycle of birth and death? Dharmaraja puts down his head. He had never prayed for it. Therefore, it's a very important lesson for everybody. The glory of being born as a human being and then having the golden opportunity to meet a divine personality who is a knower of Brahman, a Brahmavida, a God-realized divine personality is the greatest good fortune that any human being can get. What do we pray for is very, very important. What do we pray for? When we meet Sadguru, what do we pray for? And what should we pray for? According to me, if we learn the lesson from what Krishna told Dharmaraja, one and the only thing we should pray for is, Swami, please liberate us, liberate me from the cycle of birth and death. Because that nobody else can do. If you want wealth, there are many ways you can earn wealth in the world. If you want position, you can earn position on your own. Work hard and achieve it. But this one thing, only a Brahmavida can do. There's a beautiful authority from the Mundaka Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad says, Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati Vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yanscha kaman tam tam lokam jayate tanscha kaman tasmat atmajnam hi archayet bhoti kamaha. This is one first part of this shloka. What does it mean? A Brahmavida has a hotline with God. He can contact God anytime, or he himself is God that way. Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati. We believe that after the death of the body, we go to the lokas, depending on our punya or karma, different lokas. There are 14 lokas, all subtle lokas, and highest is the Brahmaloka. And then comes Tapaloka, and that way, and Earth is somewhere in the middle. Whichever loka a Brahmavida aspires to bless his devotee or disciple, he can do that. Vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yancha kaman. A Brahmavida is a Vishuddha sattva. He is personification I have the pleasure of welcoming amidst us our greatest friend and supporter, Sri T.B. Jayachandraji. And also one of the alumnus of our Muddenahalli campus, Dr. M.C. Sudhakar, Honorable Minister for Higher Education, Karnataka, Government of Karnataka, both of you, it's my pleasure to welcome you. I would like to conclude what I was saying, and then we request Dr. M.C. Sudhakar and Sri T.B. Chaitandaraji to talk to us. So a Vishuddha Sattva means he is the personification of Sattva, a Brahmavida, a knower of God. Why do from people all over the world come to Muddenahalli? They come for darshan of Sadguru. Because these are people who come here, they have realized that the greatest good fortune that we can get in our life to have the darshan of a Brahmavida who stands on the other side of the ocean of samsara, who has crossed over the cycle of birth and death. See, you can meet anybody else, but to have his darshan, they come. We had the governor of Meghalaya. We had the speaker from Assam, and many others during Navaratri. This morning, one of the senior colleagues of Dr. M.C. Sudhakar was here, Sri K.H. Munepugaru was here. Everybody comes here because this Brahmavida, a knower of God, is the personification of pure sattva, Vishuddha Sattvaha, Kamayate Yanscha Kaman. Whichever lokas that he chooses, whichever desires he chooses to bless someone who prays to him, his devotee, his follower, they will get it. See, that power is there. That is why the last sentence says, Tasmat Atmajnam hi archayet bhutikamaha. See, there are two words in the Mundakopanishad. In the previous sloka it was there, Aptakama and Bhutikama. Aptakama is one who has no desires left because he has realized that these desires can give us only temporary joy, temporary gains, and anything that we gain in this world materially is going to be cause of sorrow next, without exception. If you analyze it scientifically, logically, using the rationale, see, that is what happens. Therefore, the Aptakama has given up desires because he has not fulfilled all his desires. He knows that there is no end to the desires, and even fulfilling these desires is of no use because they are temporary, he knows. Therefore, he has become an Aptakama. A Bhutikama is one who has many desires, wants to enjoy by getting those desires, fulfilling those desires. Therefore, the Mundakopanishad says, if somebody is having some desire of the world, whatever it is, wealth, position, power, enjoyment, Atmajnam hi archayet. You should worship, adore a Brahmavida, a divine personality, a God-realized person, he says. But what happens to the advice which Krishna gave to Dharmaraja, which I was talking about? Next shloka in the Mundakopanishad says, Upasate Purusham Yehi Akamaha. Such a Brahmavida, Upasate, he adores without any desires. What happens to him? See, that is the next thing. With the desires, we approach him like a loving mother, loving father. Though he knows that these things will not be of much help, they are temporary, they are not permanent, he bestows upon his devotees, whatever it is, position, power, money. But if you approach him and worship him without any desires of the world, te shukrametat ativartanti dhiraha. You worship a divine master without any desires of the world, you will attain Godhood itself. You will cross over the cycle of birth and death. Once for all, you are released from all sorrow and misery. This is what the shloka says. Therefore, when we have a divine personality in front of us, walking among us, talking to us, picking up letters, small chits given by students also, and responding to your prayers all the time, what should we pray for? Maybe you are not able to give up worldly desires. First pray for it and then pray, after that grant me moksha. But it looks very, very funny. You can't have the cake and also eat it. Telugu, there is one proverb. Avva kavala, guva kavala ante kaadu. You can't have both grandmother and the bird, because grandmother is stuck into the house. She can't go out. Sometimes, grandchildren want to have Avva, grandmother. At the same time, he wants to go out and see the bird also. Both are not possible together. Therefore, if you are fortunate, if you are wise, if you have understood something of all the discourses that you have heard from Sadguru, what is that we should pray from Sadguru? We should pray, Swami, please grant us liberation. Please release us from this cycle of birth and death. Then we are most fortunate and we will find fulfillment in our lives. With these words, I conclude and request Shri మీరు కూడా మాట్లాడాలి ఫస్ట్ ఆయన మాట్లాడాలి Dr. M.C. Sudhakar wants Jayachandraji to talk first. After that, Sudhakar will speak. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.
ಓಂ ಸಾಯಿರಾಮ್. ಜಗದ್ಗುರು ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿರವರ ಪಾದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಾ, ಇವತ್ತು ಉಪಸ್ಥಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಚಿವರು, ನನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸುಧಾಕರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಮತ್ತು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಆಧಾರ ಸ್ತಂಭವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಹಿರಿಯರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನರಸಿಂಹಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅಣ್ಣವರೇ, ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ನನ್ನ ಸಹೋದರ ಸಹೋದರಿಯರೇ, ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಡವಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ತಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಅನಿರೀಕ್ಷಿತವಾಗಿ ಚಿಂತಾಮಣಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ. ಚಿಂತಾಮಣಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂದರೆ, ಚೌಡ್ರೆಡ್ಡಿಯವರವರು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಸಕರಾಗಿದ್ದಂಥವ್ರು ಭಾಳ ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪವಾಡಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, ಅವ್ರು ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾವು ಯಾರೂ ಕೂಡ ಮರೆಯಲಾರದೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಮಗನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸುಧಾಕರ್ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಸಚಿವರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಷ್ಟೇ, ನಾವು ಬರ್ತಾ ದಾರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದ್ವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ತುಂಬ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಪರಿಹಾರವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾತನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಬಂದೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳು, ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಯೋಜನೆಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಥರವಾದಂಥ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳನ್ನು ತರುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಸುಧಾಕರ್ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ, ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟರೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಪಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಬಹುಶಃ ಇವತ್ತು ಮುದ್ದೇನಹಳ್ಳಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇಂಥ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಸಿಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಥ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಪುಣ್ಯ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿರವರ ದರ್ಶನಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಪಂಚಾದ್ಯಂತ ಅನೇಕ ದೇಶಗಳಿಂದ ಜನರು ಬರುವಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇರಿಸು ಮುರುಸು ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನೀರು ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪವಾಡಗಳು ಒಂದೇ ಎರಡೇ, ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವತ್ತು ಬೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, 4 ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂಥ ಪವಾಡಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹುಶಃ ಜಾಗದ ಕೊರತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಕೊರತೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದರೆ ಈ ಕೇಂದ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬರಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ನಾವು ನೀರನ್ನು ಕೊಡತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ನಾನು ಸುಧಾಕರ್ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಶಾಸಕನಾಗಿ ಬಂದಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಡಿಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಮಳೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆರೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೀರು ತರುವಂಥ ಮಾಡಿದ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನೀರು ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಯಿತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋ ಬಿಡ್ತಿರೋ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಕೂಡ ನೀರಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿ ಬಗೆಹರಿಸೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿನಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ, ಇವತ್ತು ಜಗದ್ಗುರು ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಹೇಬರವರ ಕೃಪೆ ಮತ್ತು ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ನೆರವೇರಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ವಿನಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದೆ. ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Jayachandra ji shared that an institution like this is not to be found anywhere else in this country. He also requested Sudhakar ji to assist in getting the water supplied to this region. Thank you, sir. May I now invite our honorable guest, Dr. M.C. Sudhakar, to address all of us. He represents the Chintamani constituency and has been a distinguished politician for the last 25 years. Renowned for his dedication to academic excellence and his commitment to transforming the state's higher education landscape, Dr. Sudhakar has been instrumental in implementing several innovative initiatives. We are also glad to share that he is an alumnus of this very institution. Dr. M.C. Sudhakar ji.
ಓಂ ಸಾಯಿರಾಮ್. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಸದ್ಗುರು ಶ್ರೀ ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿ ಅವರವರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಲ್ಗೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸುದೈವ ಆ ದೇವರ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಲಭಿಸಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಲಾರ್ದು. ಈ ಒಂದು ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿರುವ ಹಿರಿಯರು, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಮಾಜಿ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ದೆಹಲಿಯ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ತಂದೆ ಸಮಾನರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ಟಿ ಬಿ ಜಯಚಂದ್ರರವರೇ, ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಮೂರ್ತಿಯಣ್ಣನವರು ನಾನು 1981ರಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗೆ 8ನೇ ತರಗತಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿದಂಥ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರ ಕರೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಸೇವೆಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಯವರ ಸಮೀಪದಲ್ಲೇ ಕೆಲಸ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವಕಾಶ ಬಂತು. ಆದರೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದಾಗ ಬಂದಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು ಅಂಥ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅಣ್ಣನವರೇ. ಹಾಗೂ ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಮುಂಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಪೂಜ್ಯರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನುಯಾಯಿಗಳೇ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸವನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಪಾರ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಾಯಂದಿರೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರೇ, ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ, it is really a great moment for me to grace this occasion. Navaratri is the festival of goddess Durga. And with the blessings of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, 9 days of relentful activities are happening. Every day, lot of chanting, lot of spiritual information is being delivered here. So today, I got an opportunity to be part of this occasion. I was invited last year also, but I couldn't make it. But this year, somehow, Swami himself has brought me here to be part of this memorable event. As you all know, it really makes something different being the student of this institution. As I have grown, I have seen this institution grow. But the growth which has happened in the last probably about 8 to 10 years, it is something remarkable. I don't think though I was little away from active politics because of the ups and downs in politics, but my classmates who studied with me here in this institution, they used to update me with the developments which was happening. Earlier, this institution was restricted only to Muddenahalli and Alike and Whitefield. Now, it is spread across the state, and there is an institution in every district. And where I used to see the infrastructure which has been developed, I don't think any government also can think of establishing such institutions, and within a short period of time, and that too, when they do the groundbreaking, the inauguration date also is fixed. So this is something this is nothing but a miracle which is happening. Because as a public people's representative, we try to bring out various government programs. We always try to finish things on time, but you know, we never are able to stick to the time. But here, the way things are happening, the way people are coming forward, the way people are supporting this great endeavor which is being dedicated to the mankind. So I don't think any normal human being could be able to do such a splendor which none of us can imagine. So I would like to thank, I can't congratulate Swami, but on behalf of the government, I would like to place it on record that your services to the mankind, the way things are happening here, and the guiding force, Murthy Anna, the way he is taking this entire marvel of things which are happening here, I think there is no words to express. So, with regard to the drinking water issue, we have held a meeting with the neighboring constituency, Dodballapur MLA and our local MLA. We have tried to resolve the issues, but you know, certain sensitive things are there. And our Minister for Minor Irrigation, Mr. Bosaraj, also is very keen to see that this becomes a reality, and the way the requirement of water is increasing day by day because of the activities which are just happening unimaginably. So earlier when this program was conceived, I think the requirement was 1 lakh liters per day. Govindra Reddy, earlier. Now I think the requirement has crossed 3 to 4 lakhs now. Per day, 3 to 4 lakh liters of water is required here. Since the water source is from Jakkalmadugu, we have a agreement with neighboring Taluk, Dadbalapur and Chikbalapur. We have a 37% of share to be given to Dadbalapur Taluk, and the remaining 63% is for Chikbalapur town and the few villages. So since the requirement has gone up, since there could be resistance from the neighboring Taluk as well as the residents of Chikbalapur, so I thought that we should increase the storage capacity of this tank. That is one option we were looking at. And already I have discussed that we should either do desilting of this tank and see that the water source, the storage capacity is increased. And we are also eagerly awaiting the water from Ettinavale scheme. So that also is going to help us in the future. And recently again I have instructed the officers from Karnataka Urban Water Supply and Drainage Board as well as the officers from minor irrigation. I have asked them whether there is a possibility to have another bund below the Jakkalmadugu tank so that we can augment by increasing the storage, probably whether to double it or make it thrice the size of the storage capacity what we have. So these are the lines what we are thinking. Since we don't have a very perennial source of water here, I think we are looking at various options. But here on this occasion, I am being alumnus of this institution, I am bound, and it is my duty also, because with the strong foundation what has been laid down for me in the 3 years of time what I have spent here, whatever I have become today, there is a big role played by this institution I can never forget. So it is time for me to give it back to the institution which has made me what I am today. So I can assure you to Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai as well as Murthy Anna, I am already working on this, and also we will try to find alternate sources, and we will see that somehow we will be able to find some more options as well, how we can try to see the required amount of water which is required for the people who come here, whether it is the devotees or the patients. It is becoming a big, I would rather say, headache sometimes. I don't know what to say. Everybody in my constituency, it is 43 kilometers away from here. They keep telling me, sir, we want to go to Madhusudan Sai Hospital. Please put a word, we want a bed there. My friends who are here, Dr. Satish Babu or even Mr. Govind Reddy, if I speak to them, they say, sir, it is full, what can we do? This is the only hospital where there is no counter for a receipt. I don't think there is any hospital in the country where not even a single paisa, single rupee or single paisa is taken for any sort of a service which is rendered here. And probably any service to the mankind we have to do, probably health service is the primary thing, and next is the education. These two things are going to change the entire society. Probably the world has changed only because of these two things. Without education, without proper health care, I don't think there is nothing can be there. So that service is being given here with the blessings of everybody here, and special mention about Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. So I don't want to take much of your time. I would like to again apologize. As Sri Jayachandra sir said, we were a little late for the program. We got stuck up in my constituency. Probably I would say it was because of me. He was well in time. I was held up in some other program. So we were late by about half an hour, I think. So I would like to apologize before all of you. and I'm happy to see such a huge gathering here, and you are all eagerly waiting to listen from the Sadguru. So once again, I would like to thank all of you for giving a very patient hearing and for having me here today. Thank you, sir, Murthyana sir, Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, and all the elderly people who are here. My pranams. Om Sai Ram. Thank you.
Once again, our gratitude to both of you for being here and addressing all of us today, sir. Thank you, Sudhakarji, for your efforts to improve our water supply. We look forward to your continued support. May we now pray to Sadguru for his divine blessings this evening.
In Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya chitmichhati tasya tasya achalam shraddham tam eva vidadamyaham. Which means whichever devotee wants to worship me in whatever way, in whatever form, I give them that faith in that particular form and name according to their shraddha, according to their bhakti. So Indian spirituality is replete with stories of gods and goddesses, all kinds, from a piece of stone to trees to rivers to mountains to seen to the unseen. Everybody is entitled to worship whatever they feel comfortable with. A very, very flexible and broad-minded philosophy this is. And whichever form and name that you worship, that particular divinity, God blesses you with faith in that divinity, in that form. So all are right in the sense, whoever wants to worship in whatever way, all are right. This is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna says. We are worshipping Mother in so many forms. 9 forms. Today is Katyayani, the one who killed the demon Mahishasura, the shapeshifter, as we had spoken earlier, and redeemed the world of his atrocities, thereby restoring peace and harmony in the society. That is the job of God, to remove the sufferings of the poor, of the downtrodden, of the weak and the marginalized, and provide them with what they lack and restore them to a life of dignity, to a life of justice, to a life of equality and peace. That is the job of God. That is what they do. And whoever does that job is very much a God that the whole society worships. Today, amidst us, there are 2 good political leaders who have been very associated with our institutions in different ways though. First and foremost, T.B. Jayachandra ji, who was the reason behind the establishment of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, based out of Kalburgi. 5 years ago, his efforts led to the establishment of this private university, which now provides education to hundreds of boys and girls at no cost, and many of them are here today. Can I ask them to rise? Those who are from the university and medical college, nursing, paramedics, just rise. How many of you are here? Rise means stand up, not raise your hands. All this is the gift of T.B. Jayachandra ji. So to bring the university into existence and provide education to all these children for free, one instrument of God was required. As Sri Krishna says, Nimitta Matram Bhava Savya Sachin. Be my instrument and I will get the things done by you. So he was the instrument chosen 5 years ago to provide this special status to our mission by providing a private university legislation. He drafted the legislation, he corrected the legislation, he re-drafted whatever was required, he did accordingly. And I remember the very suspense kind of a situation where on the last day of the cabinet, and after that the government changed. Mind you, that was the last cabinet that they were in. On the last day, probably the last legislation that was passed was about the university being established as a private university, and that was passed because of T.V. Jayachandraji, who brought the bill. He was then the Law and Parliamentary Affairs Minister in that cabinet of government of Karnataka. So God needs an instrument to get his work done. And today Sudhakar has come, who is also an alumnus of this institution, as he said, and he is now the chosen instrument to ensure that the water supply to these institutions, especially the Muddenahalli campus, remains perennial, and it helps to continue to serve the society in a better way with the increasing number of patients and increasing number of students, visitors. I must inform Sudhakarji, 60 countries, from 60 countries people come here, and next year being 100th birthday of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, we are expecting devotees and followers to come from 100 countries over here. At least 10,000 people will be there any day. So also the new medical college hospital which is coming up is a 600-bedded facility. Naturally the patient load and all the work that is going on will also increase with that being inaugurated for the 100th birthday, that is in November of 2025, just a year away. So I'll give you one full year to sort out your issues. By the time it is next year, I hope everything will be taken care of, and we will be having a continuous supply of clean drinking water for all the people who visit the ashram. God has been gracious. We have been able to manage it even with bore wells and whatever water supply presently we have from underground water sources, and because of that we have been able to survive so far. But as the increase of need happens, naturally it has to be thought of very carefully and made into a very foolproof futuristic supply, which will help the institutions to grow without any problems. When I had come here 8 or 10 years ago, this place was very dry. Now at least there is some greenery and some water. In that time when I had come, students used to have bath on the alternate days because there was no water to have bath. I don't know during your hostel days what used to happen, but it used to happen like that. Students were the happiest at that point of time, but I was not very happy. They all would, offer the other to have bath today. It's all right, you can have bath. And then we used to buy waters in tankers from I don't know where all we used to get tankers. And I one day looked at the accounts and saw that in a year we were buying water worth 15 lakh rupees. 10 to 15 lakh rupees was the average budget of water just for drinking and bathing. That was the time 2012. And then we wondered what can be done. Year after year the problem continued. And I remember at that point, one of these Navaratris, we started the first Atirudra Mahayagnya Homa, and when that was done in 2015, suddenly there was a downpour. It rained incessantly for days after that. They say Yajnat, Parjanyat means rains come because of Yajna. And because of that Atirudra Mahayagnya, which we performed in 2015, there was a downpour. The whole campus got flooded. So much of water everywhere. And now boys had no excuse but to have bath every day. In fact, twice a day if needed. That changed the fortunes of this place. In fact, that one yajnam is the one which brought us this far, because that supplied the water, the underground water table rose. We could recharge a lot of our bore wells. Though we dug lot many bore wells, but because of that grace, divine grace, it is said in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Annat bhavati bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha yajnat bhavati parjanyaha yajnat karma samudbhavaha, it is said. People survive because of food, anna. But anna itself comes because of rain. But rains come because of yajna. So let every act of ours be a yajna, it is says. So when we performed that yajna at that point of time with this prayer that let there be some water so that everybody is happy. That time there was no hospital, there was no university, not even these many people used to visit. But first rains that came after that, that helped us to kind of take care of the institutions for these many years. Since then we have been receiving decent rains, and because of that we have been able to manage. But as I said, in the times to come, one Bhagirathi is needed to bring Shiva's grace to the land. and let Dr. Sudhakar be that Bhagirathi to bring to bring that water. May that help the institutions. Any pure thought, which is any pure action, done with pure intention, always finds success. And I call this Muddenahalli a Siddha Sankalpa Bhumi, because any thought that we have undertaken so far, none of these has failed. Somehow or the other it has happened by divine intervention, by human interventions. All the things that we have thought about so far, everything had happened. I remember it was the COVID time when a lot of people were suffering with infections, and then second wave came, and that was quite horrible, because at that point in time it was much more deadly than the first wave, and all the patients in and around were searching for oxygenated beds. There were not sufficient beds, people were suffering. At that point in time we decided that we will upgrade our small clinic hospital into a larger facility which is having oxygenated beds, and people can be treated over here for even such tertiary care emergencies. That's how the first hospital was built, and that started running. And after that, the idea came that though we building hospitals, but there are not enough nurses, paramedics and doctors to run the hospitals across the country, especially in rural India. And that is how medical college and nursing college, paramedical college came into existence. And now with that we have grown. This year, as the admissions are going on, the second batch of medical students are also going to join, nursing students have joined, and so on. So they will become our future service providers to the rural India. That is how this hospital and all these institutions will grow in times to come. So anywhere where there is pure intentions, where there is selfless intention, God helps them to achieve that intention. And this is the living proof. This Muddenahalli ashram is the living proof. Sometimes we have to pinch ourselves to know that all this is for real and we are not in a dream world. But this is for real, because I see those many patients, they are for real getting treated. So many students, these boys were there, they were all small kids 10 years ago, now they all gone into the university. Many have joined us back. You'll be happy to know close to 200 of our alumni have joined us back as teachers, administrators, engineers, doctors. So many of them. Many from his batch like Dr. Satish Babu and all that. But even otherwise, so many of them have joined us back. So that is how the institutions are growing in number, and let this growth continue to forever. As Lalita, Mother Lalita says, she is Dhanadhyaksha. She also controls the wealth. And Dhanadhanya Vivardhini she is. She gives prosperity to everyone. So that Mother Goddess is what we are praying to. And I am sure that prosperity and progress will come to this place, because the intentions are very pure, very selfless. That is how it will continue to grow. I also want to acknowledge the services of Narasimhamurthy ji, who was the very first missionary who came here, because he was born here near Chikbalapur. He stayed in Chikbalapur, and when he came across Madhyal Narayan Bhatt Anna, he was very impressed by his service-mindedness and his patriotism, and took to this path of spirituality also under his guidance. And he came and he used to work with all the laborers. They used to carry sandbags on their shoulders, bricks and things like that. And the first monument they built is that tile roof building, if you see there near the canteen, which is still standing there, though it's quite old now, almost 50 years old. But these are the people who worked with selfless intention, with the only motivation that let free education, let good education, let quality education be given to the poorest. Let nobody be denied for the want of whatever school or capacity or affordability. Let everybody get an opportunity to get educated. That was the vision. And the vision was that many of these students who become graduates, postgraduates later in their lives will do good to the society, and that is what is the motto even today. As students graduate and come out, we want them to serve the society in whatever capacities that they can, in whatever ways they can. Dr. Sudhakar is one who is serving in the capacity of a social and political leader to the constituencies that he is in charge of. Likewise, there are many, many more of our students who are in various fields who are serving the society. And next year, during the 100th birthday celebrations, we want to recognize 100 of the alumni from our institutions who are now doing very well for the society and who have made a difference to the lives of people, especially the poor and the marginalized. I'm sure Dr. Sudhakar can be one of them whom we can celebrate here next year. I'll take up 1 or 2 questions if there are there. Every evening we have these question answers for spiritual questions.
Swami, more than the fear of death, we may have fear of suffering and pain that might precede the actual death. How do we conquer that fear?
Oh, today because we have been discussing Mrityunjaya Homa, everybody is meditating and contemplating on the idea of death looks like. Not bad, it is a good thing because that's a certainty. That's going to happen someday or the other. We better be prepared to face it in the right way. It's all right. But the idea is that they're saying, I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid of the suffering and pain that comes along with it. Now, you use 2 words. One is suffering, another is pain. See, pain may be real. Suffering many times is only an imagination. Pain is something you cannot avoid if you have got hurt. Let us say you broke your leg. Now, leg is going to pain when it's broken. But suffering is much to do with how your mental makeup is like. Physical pain, totally understandable. It is going to hurt you when you have undergone some kind of accident. But mental pain or mental agony or suffering is your choice. Pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. So you have to choose between the two. Pain you cannot avoid. But now because of the medicine, progress in medicine, you can have a lot of painkillers and whatever anesthesia and things like that. You can still survive that pain. But suffering is a mental phenomenon. Nothing can be done about it. There is no medicine other than putting you to sleep. There is nothing can be done for your suffering. Suffering is your choice. Buddha used to say, it seems, when one is hit, he is hit by 2 arrows. One arrow is actually the arrow, physical arrow which has hit the person. That is the arrow of pain. But the second arrow is that of suffering, which is his imagination of the pain, because of which we actually suffer. Pain is not the cause of suffering. Our inability to accept the pain and deal with it is the cause of suffering. So, suffering can be removed through spiritual practices. What are the spiritual practices? You consider yourself as beyond body. You accept the situation as it comes. Take it as God's prasadam. Whatever good, bad, ugly in our life is all by divine will only. You submit and surrender to that will, your suffering will reduce. Pain may not reduce. Pain will have its own other remedial measures, but suffering will definitely reduce. So as I said, suffering is a choice. Death is not a choice. Pain is not a choice, but suffering is a choice. So if you are afraid of suffering, yes, there is a remedy to it. If you are more spiritual, more surrendered, more devoted, your suffering will definitely come down. And pain, I think you go to Sarla Memorial Hospital, that will come down there. They'll give you some injections and you'll be okay. So these are the only ways, but the bigger idea is that we must accept death and embrace it as the truth of life. You cannot run away from it. In fact, there is one Yaksha Prashna in Mahabharata, it comes. And the Yaksha asks, what is the greatest wonder on earth? And Dharmaraja replies, people die as if they have never lived, and they live with the fear of death all the time, as if they are going to die. So when they die, they'll die with such kind of dissatisfaction as if they have never lived at all. They want another day, another half a day, to finish some unfinished tasks, to experience some other desires. So this is why the suffering happens, because you have unfulfilled desires, so you suffer. But if your desires are all done, as Narsimurti said a while ago, if we are desireless at the end of our lives because we are satisfied with whatever we have won, second, we don't desire anything for ourselves, then suffering will not be there at the end of our lives. So that is another way of reducing your suffering, by removing your desires. Physical pain and suffering, as I already mentioned. The other suffering that comes to us is because of unfulfilled desires. We have plenty of them and not all gets fulfilled. That is the other thing. The third suffering is something that can continue into the next life also after your death. Because whatever you think during your last moments, that becomes the cause of your rebirth. It is said in, I think Yamadharmaraja says in Kathopanishad, Yoni manye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehinah sthanu manye anisayanati yatha karma yatha shrutam. Whatever you have done, whatever you have heard, it means whatever you have understood, that becomes the reason for you to get into another womb. You can even be born as Thanum. Thanum means that which does not move. Means you can become a tree, stone or whatever. That also is possible based on what you were thinking at the last moment. So this life you have suffered, whatever your thoughts were, desires were, unfulfilled desires were. But at least you can save yourself from another suffering of another life by not having any desires at the end, because one wrong desires, one wrong thought will lead to a rebirth, and then you have to continue from there. And who knows, next birth you will get to become a student in Muddenahalli or devotee of mine or not. So better redeem yourself now and here by living a spiritual life. Physical problems will come, failures, setbacks will come in life, but suffering need not happen. If you choose not to suffer, you need not suffer. And by spiritual austerities and spiritual faith, one can avoid suffering in life.
Swami, many times as we begin spiritual practices, we face a lot more challenges than when we are not. Therefore, we feel like giving up. How to remain motivated and keep putting efforts?
It's not just about spirituality. Anything new you start, you will face with some difficulties. Let us say you want to start running a marathon. Now, first day you start, your legs will pain, hands will pain, back will pain, you will give up. But the moment you give up, you will never build that stamina to run the whole marathon. You persist because you want to run that marathon. Your motivation comes from your deep, intense wish to achieve it. So all the pain and all whatever comes with it, difficulties, they look very small because your goal is very lofty. So you undergo. A mother gives birth. We see so many children are born every day. You think giving birth is any easy task? If every mother decides, I don't want to give birth because it is very painful process, none of us will be here in this hall. We all have a greater idea. When you are motivated by a greater, loftier idea in life, these small setbacks and challenges don't even count. You will somehow take it in your stride because you are motivated, you are propelled by this greater idea to do good to the world or do good to whatever yourself or anybody. So that is the reason why we should be able to accept all these challenges on the way and not give up. In spirituality, all the more, it is like, let us say you have never cleaned your house for many months. You have gone out on a holiday, then you come back, everything is dusty and dirty. Now when you start cleaning, what happens? Dust will rise, it will fly, it will get into your nose, you will cough. Suppose you suffer with that, you leave cleaning the house and say, I will continue to stay like this. Is it possible? Is it right? No. Like that, we have accumulated a lot of this mala, vikshepa, avarana, they say, a lot of mala, lot of dirt we have accumulated of several lifetimes in our, by not following proper spiritual practices. So one day after many lifetimes, you get inspired by one yajnam like this or one discourse like this and a company of people and decide, today I am going to clean up my inside, which means I will deal with my ego, I will deal with my selfishness, I will deal with my attachment, I will deal with my desires, I will deal with my negativities, fears. When you start, it's like cleaning that house which is full of dust, which has never been cleaned for a long time. And so all the dust rises, you cough and you suffer. Similarly, when you start dealing with all your inside dirt because of spiritual practices, that suffering comes to you, in the sense that difficulty comes to you. But just like you won't stop cleaning the house, likewise you should not stop practicing spiritual things, because then you will never be able to clean the house. It will only become dirtier with every passing day. So that is the idea, that setbacks will come, difficulties will come, but that comes in every field of work, not just spirituality. Spirituality, somehow people think that just because I am taking to the path of spirituality, it will be a bed of roses, God will roll out a red carpet for me. Oh, here comes my great devotee and bhakta. It's not going to be that way. It comes with its own challenges and difficulties, and that's the most highest achievement in life, is to achieve spiritual truth. So it has to come with its set of challenges, but not giving up is important. That is why Uttishtata, Jagrita, Prapyavaran Nibhota, Shurasya Dhara Nishita Duratchaya, Durgam Patastat Kavayo Vadanti. The great ones have said that this is going to be a tough job, walking the razor's edge, that to sharpen razor's edge. You have to be careful, but you should not give up. Stop not till you reach the goal, says Swami Vivekananda. So that is the idea. Giving up is not the way. So Swami used to say, no, Pattine Dedayo, Pattane Pattitivi, Pattine Gedu Daka, Atte Undu, Korina Dedayo, Korine Koritivi, Korika Chelledi Daka, Kolichi Undu. Adigine Dedayo, Adigine Adigitivi, Adigine Tidu Daka, Vidavakundu. Talachine Dedayo, Talachine Talachivi, Talpu Tiredu Daka, Tarala Kundu, he says. Don't give up till you achieve it. Because this is not the quality of the devotee or God. So Bhagavan would say both are not like this. God also should pursue, the devotee should attain the highest. Devotee also should not give up the pursuit of the highest. Till we achieve, we should not give up. That is the call of the Upanishads. Small setbacks come in everywhere. We want to learn something new, no pain, no gain. So spirituality also works the same way. One more question, that's all.
Swami, sometimes when we meditate, we end up introspecting or we become emotional remembering the past. Is this natural? If not, how can we avoid this?
Again, you are cleaning your attic. So in their attic, what all is lying? Some useless past thoughts, memories, emotions, traumas. All these are lying. You are cleaning this up, right? So every time you clean up, you have to see what is coming up. So one memory will come up. Fine, throw it out of the window like that. Discard. This is what I say. You first discriminate, then discard. What is the discrimination? Oh, this memory is still there in me. Some old habit of mine or some problem of mine, some trauma of mine. Do I need it today? I don't need it. Then let us throw it away, discard it. Well, how do you discard it? You have to, again, there is a mental exercise. You have to imagine. Many times I give this exercise to people who are unable to deal with certain things. Think of a cupboard. Think of all your memories as items, objects stored in that cupboard. Now you go open the cupboard. This is a mental exercise. Go there, take out that particular memory, think that this is not necessary for me, it is unnecessary, I don't need it. Think that you are burning it or you are destroying it. And now you imagine the cupboard without that particular trauma or experience or memory. That is one way of mentally training yourself to get this done. The other way is that do not just throw it before learning the lesson. Even if the memory keeps coming back to you, even after that it reappears, every time ask, have I learned the lesson from the experience that I was supposed to learn? Use it to your advantage. Suppose you go in the road and you take a wrong turn and you end up in a wrong place because you did not listen to the GPS. This is an experience. Now what is the next time what you are expected to do? Listen to the GPS. Because this memory, chitta is there, which will tell us, last time you did not do the right thing because of which you suffered. Now let's do the right thing. So use those bad memories also or emotions also to become better person today. I always say there are no mistakes in life, there are only lessons in life. If you made a mistake, that can be turned into a lesson to your advantage. So even if such memories are there, try to analyze what is the lesson that I was supposed to learn. Once you learn the lesson out of that and follow it in your life, those memories won't trouble you anymore. Till then they'll keep resurfacing because they have not yet taught you the lesson. Good that next time this warning comes, memory comes, quickly remind yourself of the lesson and follow the right thing this time. So that way also you'll be able to clean up the attic one day and you'll live in a clean inside. Okay, this is enough for today. I will speak to you tomorrow again. We have a small musical recital by a group of young musicians. They are mostly percussionists. I met them in Chennai. I had gone for a festival there. And they were young enthusiasts. They brought different kinds of rhythms and patterns. And they call the event as Tal Fry. Not Dal Fry, Tal Fry. Like new age, new nomenclatures, they know how to market themselves well. So you have to listen to that Tal Fry which is coming your way now. Served hot piping Tal Fry in some time. So all of you should also play, but they're very innovative and I love the way they designed the entire program and introduced us to various kinds of rhythms, both from the south and the north. And I thought we will also have a good time enjoying it. So we will meet again tomorrow. Once again, I express our heartfelt gratitude to Jayachandra ji for coming and for also bringing Sudhakar along with him. And I know I have given him full, not 12 months actually, because August onwards people start coming. So till Guru Purnima you have time to sort out your issues with Balapura, Chikbalapura and all that. Because from August 100 days celebration starts and I expecting at least 10,000 people any day living inside the ashram. So that's going to be a huge need. I don't want people to come stinking to the hall saying, we had no water so we didn't have baths today. That shouldn't happen. Everybody should have Shuddhi. Bahiranga Shuddhi, Antaranga Shuddhi, both are required. Bahiranga Shuddhi through water, Antaranga Shuddhi through all the spiritual austerities that you'll undertake. Blessings to everyone.
We will now have a short break for 10 minutes, after which we shall reconvene for the cultural program. Sai Ram.